It gives me great pleasure to to welcome the visiting team from Deakin. They represent various fields, and some of them are already guides for the PhD program. And Professor Pushusha is the associated with the School of Nursing and Midwifery, and we run a course. What I'll do is I will make a brief presentation about what we have done during the last 10 years. So if I can have the first year. 2013 that Deakin University first approached us and said that they offer a very unique program. It's almost unbelievable that it's been our dream that our students working here at MDRF in Chennai can get a PhD from Australia, from one of the top universities in Australia. Many of our students have wanted to do PhD abroad, but the problem is that it's so expensive that only the creme de la creme, the richest people, can actually afford to pay the lakhs of rupees which are needed per year as fees to do their PhD, which meant that Indian students normally don't go to UK or Australia or US to do a PhD unless they're fully supported, and that kind of support is not easy to get. But Deakin was one of the first universities actually to come to India, and they were very forward thinking. So they came up with a scheme whereby they had put away a fund for Indian students, not just in MDRF but in other collaborating institutions in India with whom they work, whereby the students can do their PhD in the host institution with supervisors from Deakin in Melbourne, and they have frequent contacts with them through Zoom and other things. So every month almost they are in touch. It's a very rigorous program, by the way. You have to go through a certificate of confirmation, the COC we call it, and then only the student can actually write the theses. And I'm very happy to say that we are one of the institutions with whom this collaboration has really picked up, it's become quite popular. And this later led on to another program which I'll talk about. So 2013 was the time when we started, and the idea was to take up collaborative research. And so you may say, so what's in it for Australia? Which is all done jointly. So it helps them to understand more about the problems of a developing country like India, and we get the benefit of the knowledge and the advice of the supervisors in Australia. So it's worked out beautifully, the partnership. To also apply for some further research funding and so on. 6 months is also, so you may say, do the students go to Australia? So that is actually given usually during the last year of their PhD, when it's not compulsory, but Deakin offers as part of the scholarship a fund for students to go and spend between 3 to 6 months in Australia with the supervisors. So during that time they can learn new techniques, learn statistical analysis, and many of the students use that opportunity to write their theses, because by that time they would have collected most of the data, and they are getting ready to submit their theses, and then they, with the help of the supervisors there and statistical help, the library facilities and everything. So it's been a wonderful journey for the last 10 years, and many students have already completed, as I'll show you. So these are some of the supervisors from Deakin. So we had Professor David also Zoom. Then we had Professor Stephen Allender. Then we had Professor Jan Gilbert, Professor Anthony Miller, who has since retired. In fact, it was Professor Miller who first came and started the program with us. And then we have Professor Catherine here. Then we have Professor Anna Tempero and Professor Joe Salmon. So these are 8 of the Australian professors in various fields who have been supervising our students. And we have some more. We have Professor Vincent Versace, Dr. Eric Martin, Professor Joanne Williams, Professor Jenny Veitch, Professor Kevin McNamara, Professor Catherine Bennett, who has also come to India, and Professor David Dunstan, who has recently will be joined in the group, and he'll be also looking after one of our students. So you can see it's fairly large number of professors who have invested their time and interest in this project. I'm very, very grateful to them. Please give them a round of applause. Purely voluntary work that they are doing, but this has meant so much for our students and helped to take the science forward.
Students everywhere, nursing colleges, they come out, they're able to do general nursing. But with so much of diabetes all over India, we need diabetes nurses. And the nurses who come out of regular colleges may not be able to do diabetes specific education, diabetes specific treatments and things like that. So for that purpose, along with Deakin University, we have this very special course called the Diabetes Nurse Educator Certificate course. This was started in January 2017. So this is an international program jointly given by the two universities. It's the first ever Diabetes Nurse Educator program in India. It's for nurses, those who have finished BSc nursing, and what they get is the insight, knowledge and skills for diabetes specific management. It's a 4-month program, once a month contact classes where they have theory sessions, they have practical sessions, and at the end of 4 months they are able to graduate. They take a small exam and then they graduate. Who have completed this and are currently employed, some are employed with us, others are employed in various places. So as you can see, the collaboration has various arms. There is a research arm that is giving to society. Again, we are doing on digital health, we're showing about physical activity, there's so many things going on there, basic work. There is an education arm that is also giving with thing, and also there will be about strengthening the research, strengthening the education side, looking at various methodology workshops, seminars, short-term research projects which can be done here and in Australia as well, and other job-oriented and skill development courses that will be useful for people in both countries.